Hey everybody, it's Aquila, and this is a Lefty Knitter Podcast, episode 234. Today is Thursday, February 15th. I should know that because Valentine's Day was yesterday. Dates escape me. But let's show you what's been going on. So, if you're new to the channel, hello and welcome. And if you're not new to the channel, hello and welcome back. This is a podcast mostly about knitting, sometimes crochet, sometimes other crafty things. And I just like showing you what I've been up to. So, we are in Baltimore, Maryland. Husband, cats. Yeah, so all the things. And yeah, I'm going to show you the cutest little thing ever. It's so cute. It may not be as cute as the chicken. If you have been around, you saw the beaded chicken. So down below I put links for everything. I will have this person's Etsy shop listed down below because this is a crochet pattern that I purchased from the Etsy shop. She does not, or they do not, I should say, have them on Ravelry. You ready? You ready for this? Because it's the cutest. It seriously is. Okay. Look at this cute little jellyfish. Oh my god. It even has, I showed in the last episode, the little pink beads. Hair all over it. Okay. So what I think, this is crocheted with crochet cotton and little seed beads. And I think these are probably like 8/0, maybe 10/0. I think what I want to try next, because the pattern, they tell you what hooks to use based on what size thread. Now, I already know I like this tightness with this thread and the hook I've been using. I really want to try it, though, with embroidery floss, because I can match my beads kind of to my embroidery floss and it won't be so stark. Not that I don't hate this look. Do not get me wrong. I don't hate this at all. But I think it would be really, really cute to try some different colors, like some different, with the thread, right? So I think this embroidery floss, though, would be thicker than this. So it might end up being a thicker or a bigger animal. I don't know. I just have to try it. I just have to attempt it. I have a ton of embroidery floss. I was talking with Chevys. Chevys is my bud, and if you don't know who that is, it's the Chevyrells podcast, the Chevyrells stuff podcast. Gosh, that's terrible. I'm not even exactly sure. I'll link her YouTube down below. We were chatting about cleaning out our craft supplies and getting rid of things, and it's really hard to get rid of stuff when it's a craft item. For me, it's really hard. Because I'm like, one day I might use that resin, or one day I might use those perler beads, and maybe I need these 18 spools of Christmas colored ribbons. It's really difficult, though, and I did a purge not too long ago of craft items, and I didn't look back. It's fine. We have a place here called Scrap Be More. Now, it is a crafting secondhand store. So it's all items that are donated that are crafty. Sometimes they have sewing machines and everything. It's a great little store. It's a great way for people that want to do crafts or do things like that they can get supplies relatively inexpensive. And I think it's a great thing. I think there's other places all over the country that have places just like this, where it's secondhand. It's not a thrift store, so you're not having to dig through. It's straight up only craft stuff. And I think that is amazing, okay? So I just don't know what else I would purge. I have a lot of stuff that I could purge, probably, but I keep looking back and I'm thinking about my embroidery floss, because that's one thing I mentioned to Chevs. I was like, I go to that embroidery floss box a lot. I was doing the visible mending. Sometimes I need eyes for dolls and I don't want to use safety eyes. So I use my embroidery floss box a lot. And I do enjoy some freehand embroidery. I just don't do it a lot. but when the urge gets me, I have the supplies to do it. I've went on a long time about stuff. Let's go to the next thing. So I told you guys that I got to hang out with Frogget Yarns, and they have a new base, and it's a boucle base, and I asked if I could do a sample knit for them, and they said yes. And so we picked out some yarns, we looked at patterns, and I showed them this pattern, and I've already made this, so I'm going to show you my finished one first from a different yarn. But it's Frogget Yarns, and the base is called Cozy DK Boucle. Okay, now I know it's a DK and this pattern is for fingering. I adjusted my needle because I realized it was not going to work out real great. The other one is blended DK and it's Rambouillet Cordell. Let me first show you the other project that I made. Now, all this yarn was from Deep Dyed Yarn. They had a sample of this exact shawl hanging in the booth at Yellow Springs. Not the colors, I picked out these colors, but this uses a slub base. And I think it's called the Painted Pebble Shawl, and I think it might be Forest City Knits. I'll have everything down below, okay? So here is the shawl, and it alternates these sections of garter with a slub and a fingering, okay? So I showed them this shawl on my Ravelry page, and we talked about it, and we picked out two colors. Now the two colors we picked were this Merlot and Barnwood, and they're beautiful. I've showed these previous episode. I started the shawl with a US size 6 needle thinking it's not too far off, you know, a fingering and a DK, and I wanted to make sure I have enough yarn. That is the other thing I'm a little worried about. I think I will be okay. So I did start this shawl with a US 6, and I have now since changed to a US 8. So I'm going to show you guys. Down here was these first, I don't know, maybe from where my finger is down, was with the 6. And then I moved to the 8. And it is moving on the needles much better than it was before. Now I think when I get to certain sections, I'm going to change it up a little, because I think this shawl is done in all garter. And I am, if we look at the previous shawl, I am right here. I am at this point where I'm going to start widening one of the stripes. So I think what I want to do is when the stripe is, if I can, I got to look at the rows and how many rows, but I think I'll be able to do it. What I want to do is I want all the rows that are wider that use the boucle or slash slub to be in stockinette and not garter. I think it's going to give a cool texture with the stockinette here and a ridge. If we go and show you, so this has where the slicker yarn, the not slub, not boucle yarn is wider stripes. I think in this section it's really gonna show, is really gonna be cool to have this a garter, not garter, I'm sorry, a stockinette for the boucle, and this one ridge of garter with the other color. I think it'll just give a neat texture. So I am gonna modify this shawl a little bit to hopefully visually see the slub yarn a little bit better. I think it's really, really interesting though. It's really cool. And that's what I've been working on. So I have been working on John's sweater also. I'll show that like in the last clip, only because I want to get as much progress made on it. I'm really just working the body at this point. And you guys know what the body of a sweater looks like. That's one color and just plain stockinette. So I'm not going to show you that right now. I did get gifted the other hat, I'll insert the name here in the picture, by Vanessa Smith. I was gifted that. Thank you to the person, you know who you are. And I really appreciate that. So I am pretty sure what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit that hat with these two colors. You may recognize these if you've been around for a while. These are the colors that I made my Miserina out of. And it is a fingering weight yarn. I'm going to hold it double. And I already did the calculations and the math. I will have enough for this to be the main color and this to be the other color. And not that I would wear them together, but I just think it would be nice. This is Tenderfoot Yarns. Tenderfoot by... Where? Okay, hold on. I have one. I just had it out. It's right there, but it's right here. I have a bunch of this yarn because I got it really discounted. Tenderfoot. And it was a fill-a-bag. I don't know who makes it. Made in Turkey for Euro Yarns. Knittingfever.com. Okay. That's what this yarn is. These two that I'm going to use. I already have plans for this one. And the other two colors are this one and this one. And I have plans to do a colorwork sweater with this teal and this gray. It was supposed to be, it's a knit along that's happening now out in Ohio with Robin and her knit group. And I showed that, the Polina sweater, or Polina pullover. That's going to be those two. And this, I believe, is going to be a love note with this. I love it. So I am really excited to be able to keep using yarns out of my stash and getting like some really awesome projects out of it. Well, I'm hoping they're going to be awesome. You'll just have to stay tuned and find out. All right, well, I'll see you guys in the next clip because that's really all I have to show you for today. All right, everybody, let's round up this video. It is Saturday, February 17th. We had snow today. Not much. It was, they were calling for more, and then we didn't end up getting really much of anything. So I finished my jellyfish. So I started a jellyfish with embroidery floss. Did I even show that in a previous clip? I thought I did. Maybe I don't remember if I did or not. I think I did. Goodness gracious. All right, so let me tell you, I used embroidery floss. Now, the thing with embroidery floss, I found out, and just with yarn too. So embroidery floss and yarn, they're applied fibers, okay? So when I crochet sometimes with yarn, depending on how it's twisted, and it's usually all the same twist, and I can't remember the Z or the S twist. My cat is rubbing on the thing. Okay. Sometimes when I am crocheting with it, it untwists, and it can be really annoying. So can yarn. It can, sorry, when I'm knitting, it can untwist too. I noticed the embroidery floss was kind of untwisting. It made it really hard to crochet with in such a small scale. So I think what I might try is I might order some beeswax. Now they also make a synthetic, and they call it, oh my goodness, I just looked it up so I could remember. You can buy it at like Joann's, and it's for waxing your thread. It's for different types of projects. So I think it's a lot of times to keep it more sturdy is what I thought I read, but now I'm questioning everything in my brain. Either way, you're putting a coating on your fiber, so on the floss. I think that might help in crocheting a little bit, maybe keep the fibers together, maybe make it also stronger. A lot of when I was Googling, a lot of people were saying don't use embroidery floss to crochet with because the breakage point. So I was just like, well, I didn't break any of my embroidery floss. I just had the problem with it untwisting and splitting when I was trying to crochet the thread. So I am using a very tiny hook. I'm using a 1.65 millimeter, if you can even see that. It's a very tiny hook right there. And I used all 6 strands because I believe embroidery floss is 6 strands. Now I'm questioning that too. Oh my God, my cat. She tries to get my attention by doing things she knows she shouldn't do. So she likes to try to chew on my spinning wheel. This is why this room stays closed, because I also have my knitting machine and my cones of yarn, and she steals the cones of yarn, and I find big teeth marks all in the cones. Okay, let me backtrack just a minute. If anybody has used the waxing or the synthetic or beeswax, I think I would like to go the beeswax route. They have both options at the store, or I could go get it from an Etsy seller and get some, like a cute pot maybe. Maybe I'll go that route. I don't need it right away. I want to try it, and I don't want to spend a ton of money, but I still would rather support like an Etsy seller versus Amazon and or like Joann's. That, you know, it would be fun to try doing it from like an Etsy seller, since I don't need it. But I would like to know your comments below, how well you liked it, if you've used it on embroidery floss. Is it, have you used it for crocheting then at that point? You know, in general, what are your thoughts about it? Because I've never used it at all, so I don't have a clue. I, you know, and only did minimal reading on the internet about it. So let's get to the jellyfish, since I've now talked for 5 minutes about that. It's so cute. I just wish I would have used a different color for the eyes. Super cute. I wish I would have used a different color for the eyes. And I did run out of floss of this color when I was making the legs, because I was going to do all 4 of the tiny legs in the one color, but you can see one of them is a different color, and that's okay. Also, I would love to make one now with embroidery floss again, but using lighter beads in general. Because I think I think this piece would be prettier if it was a lighter color, like a baby pink or a yellow even. Like, that would be cool. I have a bunch of different beads, and I just think they're so cute. And the nature of crochet, it just curls like this automatically. I mean, how fun are these? So I don't know what I'm doing with it, but I just really am enjoying it. The most tedious process, really, to me, is threading all the beads. Like, the crocheting is so much fun. Like, if I just sat down and beaded or threaded like 5 projects worth, that would be ideal. That would be ideal. All right, so jellyfish is done, and I love it. I think it's so cute. This might actually go to a coworker who is a crafter also, and I was telling her about doing this like micro crochet. I wouldn't call it micro crochet. I don't know what you call it, but the beaded crochet with like really thin and tiny hooks. She's a crocheter, so she was like all about seeing different things I was making. So I love it so much. I did use also a darker thread for the top and switched to that lighter thread at the bottom. That was another thing. If it would have all been the lighter thread, I just think he would have been cooler. Okay, I'm going to stop. Second, let's talk about John's sweater. I have been just knitting on the body. I didn't show you guys in the earlier clips because I wanted to try to get as much done, but then I got diverted on other projects. So I was at the part where I have this tan, it's not really a lifeline. I put it in so it's waste yarn so John could try the sweater on. I'm very nervous about using barber cord. It freaks me out. So I didn't get much further, but I did get a decent chunk done. Look at that. So I'll move my marker here. I put the marker in just in case I did end up taking this out. I'll move my marker down, and I'm just going to keep on going. I don't know. I don't remember how many inches I have to go, but I mean, here's the length of the sleeve. And if you think about it, your arms, I mean, I'm probably not going to go much further than like here-ish. So I'm very excited about this. This yarn is so nice to work with, and it just glides on these needles. So I really should work on that today, because I was working on that like every day to get some done. Now I told you guys I was wanting to knit that hat, and then I was gifted the pattern and I showed you the yarn. Well, I started it. I started it yesterday. I guess that would have been Friday. I started it yesterday. I am holding the yarn double. Oh, and I have to show you. John, for Valentine's Day, bought me chipette bags. Look how cute they are. Now, if you don't know what these are called chipette bags. These are bags made by Fiber Hustle, which is, oh my god, Erin and Chip. Duh. Chip is the sewist, and Erin is the knitter, crocheter, and yarn dyer. So I'll link their shop down below. I don't know if any are in stock right now, but aren't they the cutest? So I have both of my yarn balls in there, and I am knitting from a cake because I'm doubling it. So it's just pulling from in and out, and I just close it up like this. It sits on the floor, and I just pull a bunch of yarn out at one time. And I am, well, I'm 5.5 repeats into the pattern. It repeats, it's only a 4-row repeat, which is actually really nice because I can almost memorize it. I keep it up just to look at it. But here you go. It's a double brim. I did one modification. I did not do a provisional cast on with a crochet hook. So all I did was I knit my rows with the cast on color, or the contrast color, sorry. And then I knit my rows with my main color, and then I just folded it and I picked up from the cast on edge and knit them together. Look at this. Isn't it neat? Okay. This is, oh my gosh, the Novemberist hat. Am I right about that? I'll correct myself if I'm wrong, but I believe it's the Novemberist hat by Vanessa Smith. And yeah. I can put this on my head. It does. It looked really big. I was really nervous because I know this yarn is a little bit thicker than a fingering weight, and then I was doubling it. And, you know, DK weight isn't all made no yarns are all made equal, but it fits. It does fit. I was worried about it being big. It's not big. And it's going to be super cozy. All right. I watched, nope, did I watch anything of significance? I've been watching William Shatner, The Unexplained Files or something like that. It's on Netflix. I totally dig all that stuff. There was an episode which was really intriguing that is about abandoned places. So the first place they obviously talk about is like Chernobyl, and we all know what happened there, or maybe you don't, but it was a nuclear reactor, didn't go well, they had to evacuate, and nobody can like live there for like thousands of years because of it. But they talk about oh my gosh, and I just was telling my friends the name of this. It's about people going to where tragic things happened. So people that go and see Pompeii, people that go and see like, it's morbid something. Oh my god. I'll try to remember to put it here. They name it in the episode, and I never heard that name before. But people go to see where these tragic things and death has happened. Well, in that episode, they talk about Montserrat. Montserrat is an island in the Caribbean, and I went there before the volcano erupted. So I got to see this island in all its beauty and glory and all the wonderful, beautiful people that live there. I mean, I was in middle school, I think, when I went there the first time. I mean, I'll explain. We went there, we got to go into they called it Sulphur Hills, and because it was a giant volcano, my cat is now trying to get on my office chair. Okay. And you could see steam rising out of the ground. I mean, it was active, and you just never knew. They never knew when like stuff was going to happen. There was always seismic activity. And I think it was only about a year after we left that we vacationed there. It had erupted, and it had erupted. The island is very tiny, like 3 by 5 miles or 5 by 8 miles. It's very, very tiny. The capital of Plymouth was totally destroyed and is under like feet of ash and lava flow, and it's like a morbid curiosity for people to go. You can go there and see the capital all covered. It was evacuated. There are some people back living on the island. Not all of it was destroyed because the lava flowed down certain ways. So sorry. So it was devastating, and it ruined the airport. The airport was super tiny. I remember we had to take 2 planes to get there, and the runway was super small, like as small as a runway could be for a plane to still land. And it is devastating to see what had happened, right, to these people. You can only get there by boat or by helicopter. I don't even know if helicopters are allowed to land, but probably. We didn't land. So we had went back, not to Montserrat, but to Antigua. I don't know. It was after the volcano had erupted, and you could still see smoke coming out of the volcano. I mean, it was probably a year and a half after the main eruption. And we took a helicopter tour, and that's what I'm saying. It was devastating. It was devastating to fly over and see what had happened. Yeah, because people were displaced. I mean, it was tragic. But that was in that show. So it was, as soon as I was watching it, kind of doing other things, and it said the name, and I was like, holy cow, wait a minute, pause everything else. I need to go watch this, because it was a memory for me. And so, yeah, dark tourism. I think that's what dark tourism. Sorry, it came to me. Okay, I finished a book. I can't remember what it was called, but it reminded me of The Holiday, where they switch houses. If you saw that with Cameron Diaz and I can't think of her, Kate Winslet, I think. Yep, that's it. It reminded me of this book, and it was about 2 younger people who they were not happy with their situations they were in, and they decided, their friend, they had a mutual friend, and was like, why don't you guys switch houses, take a vacation, and whatever. And that was a really good book. It was like a young YA, queer, LGBTQ book, and it was really good. I enjoyed reading it. I love those kinds of quick reads. So if you're interested, I'll put that name of the book down below. The Holiday Swap? I don't think that was called. It was around the holidays, though, so it could have been a holiday name. I'll put it down below. I list the last 10 books that I've read down below. And now I am currently reading Cinder, which was recommended by 2 friends, and I am really enjoying that. I'm listening to the audiobook. It is post-apocalyptic. It is fairy tale-esque. Obviously Cinder for Cinderella, but it is a whole twist on it, and it's called The Lunar Chronicles, because I think there's 4 books, and Cinder is the first one. So I am reading that right now. I am almost done. I have like 2 hours left, and I really, really like it, so I'm excited to read the other 3 now too. So that's what I've been watching and reading and making, and I hope everybody's well. It's already mid-February. I can't believe this month is almost over. We get 1 extra day though, because it is a leap year. So make the most of it with your 1 extra day. So, all right, well, take care of yourself and take care of others and all the stuff I tell you guys at the end, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next episode. Peace, love, and happy crafting. Bye.